Hi man, how are you? That's good. That's good. I'm good too. So you're going out fishing this weekend? Soon is good enough. I'm not going fishing this weekend, or maybe not even next weekend. I think it's too warm, and then personally I don't like to get sunburned that much. So then I prefer to stay in and airbrush a little. I'm working on that frog behind me. Already took me a month to get this far, so I'll probably will be airbrushing more on the frog. 90 degrees. I need to Google that because we work with Celsius here. Oh damn. 32 degrees Celsius. Wow, I would die. I can't handle those temperatures. Here it's about 20 degrees and I'm already dying, so 32 is, whoa, no. Can't handle that. I can imagine 32 degrees. Wow. And it's like There's no shade on the water. It's just full sun and then reflection of the sun on the water on your face, so it's like twice as warm. I can imagine. I can imagine. But you keep on fishing in the afternoon as well? Or do you go home when it gets like too warm? Wow, that's, yeah, respect. I don't think I can handle that. That's just too warm for me. Hi there, RSS Lurs. Oh yeah. Well, at night maybe temperature drops a lot, and then it's probably a lot better. The Middle East, cool. Yeah, greetings from Sweden. What do you fish for in the Middle East? If anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. Hi Donald. Well, thank you very much. I didn't know it was from South Africa. I actually didn't do the research on the frog because it's something that I'm painting for my girlfriend. She wants something nice to hang up in the kitchen, so I just said to her, choose any picture and I will try to airbrush it. So she found this beautiful picture of this frog, and now I'm trying to airbrush it. But I actually didn't do any research, so I don't even know the name of the frog, and I didn't know it came from South Africa. That's really cool. If you have any more information on the frog, please let me know because that's just really nice to know. Hi Joshua, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And that's just the reason that I do it. That's the fuel to my fire. People being thankful and helping people. That's what I live for. I really love doing that. So I really appreciate it when people take the time and the effort to say thank you, or just letting me know they appreciate what I do. So thank you so much for that. That's cool. When did you start? Was it like a few weeks ago or a few months? Well, thank you, Shane. I do like the zombie too. I actually sold it to a friend and will be a gift to a friend of their friend. So that's really nice. Yeah, uh, it's okay simple. Well, I think it's just my opinion. Yours was quite simple too. I've seen the pictures, and just with a comb and a little bit of black is also quite simple still. But yeah, the effect is really different, of course, because black is really heavy on any type of color, and if you want to give some depth to like a fish wound or something, it's easier to use a dark on a lighter color, like in the wounds I use pink and then I go over it with a little bit of red, because the red acts like a shading, so it gives depth, but it's not as heavy as a black. I was thinking also maybe we should paint a learn, because maybe it's really boring to just look at me and while I'm not doing anything. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, Joshua, thinning your paints is really, it's gonna help you a lot. The acrylics you're using now, Joshua, are those like just regular art acrylic paints, like what people also use to brush on a canvas and anything? Are they those kind of paints? Oh, cool! So you fish in the sea. I would love to fish in the sea once. And well, I did it once, and I caught a few mackerel. And that was really fun. But it feels like all the fish in the sea are much stronger than fish from freshwater. I don't know if that's true, but even a tiny mackerel was quite strong actually. So I don't know, but it feels like sea fish are really strong. So it would be really cool to catch a barracuda, or what else did you got? My snappers. That would be really nice. Oh, thank you for that, RSS Fleurs. Great that you liked it. Hi Magnus, that is actually I'll get you a lure. That's a real coincidence. I kind of finished one today. I'll get it for you. Let's see if we can get this. If the camera can pick this up, let's see. Oh yeah, it picks it up. This is a mortar oil done with the Vallejo color shift. And let's see if we can, do you see this light? Yeah, you can see. So if it's behind light, then you maybe can see that. It's totally transparent. And when the light hits it from the side, then it turns green. Just like a motor oil, but a little bit more flashy than a regular motor oil. Which is, yeah, really cool and pretty easy to paint as well. It's really not difficult. Thank you. I'll I will make a tutorial on that someday. But if I can explain how I did it as well if you want to. Oh, acrylic inks, those don't adhere at all because they are very runny, and a paint consists, well, a runny paint is just actually a paint that has more reducer, so that means there is less glue in that paint. And especially with inks, acrylic inks, any kind of brand, they are more thinned down already, so they spray very easily, but they adhere very bad. So that's why they don't adhere on foil. The way you can solve that is by adding a medium, and you could use 4030 from Createx. You could use UV-less clear from Createx. You can use the clear from Vallejo. You just have to check first if they're compatible with each other. Check it, try to mix a little bit in a cup or something, not in your airbrush, and see if they mix well, and try to shoot that. Probably that's gonna help your adhesion problem a lot. Oh yeah, we're going to paint a lure as well. Got a trout swim bait. Whopper Plopper. Holographic Deep Diver. Small jerkbait. Very tiny crankbait. Well, we'll stick to those. I think that's enough choices. Yeah, you're welcome, Donald. No problem. So, I'll put them like this. What should we paint? Let me get a stand already. No, I actually never used the styrofoam before, but I think they would be very useful to do base coating when you're just doing a black or a white or any key color as a base, because if you're doing a lot of lures, it's very easy to do a big batch. And also when you're putting glitter on, you can fill, or you can attach the UV-less clear from Cratex. And if you just blast on a lot of UV-less and you put glitter on there, then it adheres to the lure and it dries up. And just it's a good way to base coat. And sometimes I feel like it would be useful to have a siphon, but I don't have any. I never used one before either. The trout, the tiny crank, for a good perch pattern on any of these lures? Maybe let's do a tiny perch pattern on this tiny crank. Yeah, you're welcome, Joshua, no problem. I don't paint a lot of tiny lures actually, so that's why maybe it's fun to do a tiny one this time. Because in my tutorials I always take big lures, because mostly I fish for pike here, so that's why I paint a lot of big lures. Let's see, let's tape the bill first. And actually, these bills are detachable. Well, this one is pretty stuck, so I'm not gonna remove it anymore. But I like to put them on up front. You can glue them on as well, because yeah, you can glue them on as well. But I'm gonna use epoxy afterwards, and that epoxy is gonna seep in those cracks anyway, and it's gonna get the bill stuck, so it's never going to come off anyway. But I like to put it on up front, because when you painted your entire lure and you have to struggle then getting the bill on, you might scratch away some paint. Even if you're wearing gloves, you're leaving you could leave some fingerprints in your paint, so that's why I like to put the bill on already. Even if you fish for catfish, do you use small lures then? All right, we got our lure ready. Tape the bill a little. It's unevenly taped. Oh yeah, hi Chris. He does. You got. I think you can find it somewhere on Facebook in a few groups, but that's a really realistic perch pattern he did. It's a really nice one. But on this tiny lure, we're not going to do that kind of a realistic perch pattern. It does look like a tiny perch actually. Got some dirt on there. Right, so first question, when we're doing a perch pattern, we're gonna make a yellow perch or more tending to the greenish perch, the European perch? Because actually we don't have any yellow perch here in our waters. But I don't mind painting a yellow one. Never did that before, I think. I think they're beautiful, those yellow perches. It's really cool. They are prettier than the European perch, I think. Right, yellow perch. Let's do a tiny yellow perch then. It's gonna be nice. Let me grab a reference picture real quick. Yeah, they do tend to not be that big. That's the good thing about our perch. They are ugly, but they're big. All right, let's see what kind of reference picture. This is beautiful. There's no way I can share my screen, I think. That's too bad. Humpbacks, yeah. Let's see. I got a reference picture here, but he has like a silver white belly, and then the yellow is more on top of the body. Maybe that's not the yellow perch we are looking for right now. Maybe. Is there any green in your yellow perches? Or are they entirely yellow? Like a little, but not much. Okay, we're going for this one. Got a reference picture here. Already got some ideas how we can do this, but I think I want to make it I think I wanted to make it too difficult for this tiny crankbait. I think I have to keep it simple. Let's see. Got a little piece of a stencil here for I want to put some scales on there, but I want to check if they're not too big. They're a little bit out of proportion, but I don't got anything smaller than this, so maybe we have to do with what we got. Pick me European perch. Yeah, but still with prettier colors. I wonder if they taste the same because, like, in Sweden, everybody loves to eat perch. They're like, if you catch a perch, everybody says like, "Oh, did you eat it?" Um, I don't eat a lot of my fish. Sometimes I do maybe eat a perch or a trout or something, but not much, not at all. But do you guys eat yellow perch? And how does it taste? Right, thanks, Chris. I'll check it out. Let's see. My computer is not one of the quickest. I never ate walleye either, but I know they say walleye is better than sander. I do like sweeter meat. What's like your favorite way to make perch? We like to smoke them. Uh-huh, okay. I see that they are like very shiny for a perch as well. I mean, when the light hits the scales and everything, it's very iridescent. Let's see what we can do with that. Oh, perch is better than walleye. Okay. Better than fried. That sounds good. I never tried it before, but it sounds really good. Peking crusted walleye. Never heard of it. I have no idea what I should imagine right now. Peking reminds me of kind of nuts, but I doubt there will be any nuts with the walleye. I don't know. Right. So thinking about the perch here. Yeah, now I'm hungry too. I haven't eaten yet, so right. Let's I'll get my mind on the perch now. On the yellow perch. I think I'm gonna start with some white first. Just some opaque white. I'm actually doubting on how I'm going to do the scales because I'm gonna use a stencil, but I want a different color in between the scales, like a darker yellow. So I'm like thinking about how I'm gonna get the darker yellow. Maybe Maybe the sun yellow would be a good option from Vallejo. It's like a little darker orangey color, but maybe the difference is not gonna be enough. Again, I want to go too detailed, even on this tiny little crank. That's no, this one hasn't any. Right. We'll do the white first, and then that was way too much, but okay. And thin it down one little drop. Mix that good. I will just base coat this white. So a heavy coat of white. All right. Well, Joshua, it's not too late. You can always get it out and before it is too late. Marbles are also good. Anything that's not metal or anything that just doesn't rust is just fine. It shouldn't float as well. I think that's not really helpful either. We've got some plastic balls that also float. Right, yellow yellow perch. I haven't studied this fish enough to do like a pattern just out of my head that would look very similar to a yellow perch. Stainless steel works great. Alright, I think I'm gonna do hmm. I'm like wondering right now. I wanna make these scales like very iridescent or pearlescent and then put a yellow candy over it. That would be really nice. But I want a darker tone of yellow in between the scales, and I'm wondering a little bit on how I'm gonna do that. What do you guys think? Or we cannot just do no scaling and just do a simple pattern without any scales or scales at the end. So lots of possibilities. The orange mix. I always like painting with Vallejo. You don't need a high air pressure, really easy. Yeah, that's the thing, James. We can do that. I actually have a new um what's it called again? Metallic white course from Createx. I've been playing around with this a little bit, and I really like the effect because it's a little coarser glitter. So the difference between a pearlescent is a pearlescent covers like everything, and these metallic flakes are bigger, so they leave a little bit of space in between. And I think they get a really nice shiny effect, especially when you put a candy over it at the end. So we'll do what you said. We're gonna put some Vallejo Sun Yellow, put our stencil on, then put the metallic white on, and then a yellow can, or maybe I can, after the Sun Yellow, we put the stencil on, we shoot the new Wicked Opaque, this is a weird name, Bismuth Yellow Vanadate. It's like a very bright yellow. And then we put the metallic on, and then we're going over with the candy. So this is very bright. It's too bright for this perch actually. So we're toning that down again a little bit with the candy. So we got a lot more control over the tone of yellow we want. And we can even make it gradually lighter and darker to the back. How does that sound? This is what I clipped, so it's needle size 0.35. And now I'm shooting Vallejo at about, I would say 20 psi. I like to shoot with high air pressure. Right, we're gonna try that and see what it does, because I haven't tried this myself. I just think it might be nice. I'm gonna leave a little bit of the belly white. I think yellow perch have a like kind of white belly, or is it entirely yellow? I'm gonna wait for an answer for a second. Oh well. Right, 2/3 on green. Well, I can go with the green candy afterwards to darken that up. You can go really dark with the candy actually on the back. And orange fins. All right, noted. I have to think about how we're gonna do the fins, because if I'm gonna use candy, I cannot spray on top of that candy with any opaques anymore or any other color. So now I have to think on the order of how I'm gonna do things. The bigger the perch, the yellower the belly. Right. So this tiny little fellow probably has a very white belly then. Moss green on the back. Maybe we'll have to wait with the candy until the end. But then still the fin is on top of the bell, on top of the side. So if we're doing a yellow candy, we can also do an orange candy on the fin. Well, we'll do the fin with the candy as well then. Yeah, I was thinking that too, Chris, but if we're gonna use a candy, we cannot use a white on top of that candy because the candy will bleed through. So I'm gonna put the fin before I do the candies, and because I'm using yellow, we can always turn that yellow into an orange. So then it doesn't really matter. I think that's the best way to do this, but it's a tiny lure, so what about the head actually? How's the head of a yellow perch? Is it mostly dark green, or how's the head of a perch? Because I'm not gonna spray any orange there if it's actually a green. I'm already gonna do the sides. The head is also mostly green. Okay. So we got our orange on there. Alright. So now we got a darker tone that's gonna be in between of the scales. So it's gonna give a little bit of a distinction between the scales and what's behind the scales. Because if it would be white, it's gonna be too bright. If it would be a lighter yellow, then it's not correct, because behind the scales it's always a little darker, it's a little bit of a shadow. So this sun yellow from Vallejo might be really nice. Let's see if this is dry. Not entirely. I know a lot of people use the heat gun. I do have one, but actually I don't use it that much. I don't know about you guys. I know some people heat set every step. But I find like a little air helps a lot as well. Just blow a little air on there. But of course, if you have a tiny compressor, like the small airbrush compressors, then that's not really so efficient. Right. The Wicked Opaque, new color. I played around with these a little bit. There's a movie next week coming out. Or the week after that. I'll see when I have time to edit it. But these colors cover amazingly. Really good. I can actually show the results if you want to. Yeah, old hair dryers works perfectly. Maybe I think an old hair dryer might even be better than a heat gun, but a heat gun gets really hot, and a hair dryer is like not too hot. The compressor I use is this. I don't know if you can see that. Do you guys see that? Well, let's see if you guys see that. So it's a big tank compressor with 10 liters of air, because sometimes I do large batches, but also I have the habit, it's a good habit, to keep my air pressure on. Even when I'm done spraying paint, like I'm spraying paint, and I release the trigger, I'm still blowing air. And that's to spray that last bit of paint that's behind the nozzle, to spray that out as well. Because if you just like flick your trigger, then paint is going to build up here. You're going to get much quicker tip dry, and you're also going to get some splatters because it builds up behind that nozzle, and the next time you blow, that paint is going to come out first. Oh wait, James, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna use. Or are you talking about this yellow? I don't know how it picks up in the camera. It might look a little dark on screen, but wait until the layer is finished. This is actually a super bright yellow. It's almost fluorescent. Let's see this. Don't know the camera picks that up. That's the fluorescent. Yeah, you can. Oh, the lighting is too much. You can barely tell the difference. It's super bright actually, and it covers really well. Yeah, that's true, Chris. That's how you cannot heat the blank too much or the paint or get cracks or lose adhesion, because you can burn the paint off. But 1 liter is good. I also have a tiny one over there. It just gets overheated because the way I paint. So that's why I had to upgrade. Right. Bismuth Yellow Vanade. That's such a weird name, but it's a pretty color though. And it mixes better than the other yellows I have. I also have Wicked Yellow and even the transparent Auto Air Yellow, and those tend to clog when you try to reduce them. This one doesn't clog at all. It just mixes right away, which I really like. I'm shooting about 18 psi, 18, sorry, not 80, 18 psi. I'm gonna put the stencil on as well now. Try to not scratch my paint too much. Because I'm really good at that. I tend to scratch my paint all the time. And then either I fix it or I hide it or I leave it as it is. Well, Magnus, the paint that I'm using right now in the chamber is Createx. It's one of their new colors. I don't know if you can read that color like this. Can you read? Now the lighting gets to maybe a little closer. Yeah, there you go. Now you can read it. So it's the new line from Createx. It's Wicked Opaque. And one of the things is that these already have 40-30 in there, so you don't need to add 40-30 anymore. These adhere very well, and they cover extremely well. I can show you an example soon, because I can even spray this yellow on black, and it's gonna be yellow like it is yellow in the bottle, which are not many paints that can do that. Most of the time you need to put on a layer of white first and then go over it with a transparent yellow to get a really nice yellow on the black. But these paints, they spray straight out of the bottle on the black, and they don't lose any color. One more clip here. Putting on stencils always takes so long. Alright, we got our yellow. Little test spray. Cover the lure again. difference might not be that visible. I think that the difference between the Vallejo and the yellow is not gonna be that significant. And I should have went with a darker tone, maybe even almost an orange, because I don't think this will be that really visible. Alright, next up, let's add some shininess to our scales. I'm gonna put the airbrush away before I drop it and bend my needle again. You know, there's actually a metal ball in here, but I think it's stuck. Alright, enough shaking. I really like the effect of this color. Yeah, I love shiny things. A fish do too. I'm actually gonna add a little bit more. I think lately in almost any pattern that I paint is some kind of shininess. Just almost nothing is just flat opaque. I don't know about you guys. Do you use almost in any kind of pattern a kind of pearlescent or metallic or some glitter? Oh, Magnus, sorry. You mean the Vallejo that I used in the beginning? That one is called Sun Yellow. It's kind of as you can see, it's an orange yellow. If you compare it to a yellow, then you can see it's an orangey yellow, and it's a really nice paint to do. Yeah, a lot of, well, I can't think of anything right now what I do with this, but for this occasion I tried to do some scaling with the sun yellow underneath, but I don't think we're gonna see that. I do use sun yellow sometimes on perch patterns or a little bit on a trout as well. Let's see if this is dry. I've never seen a Len Thompson 5 or a diamond spoon actually, but I guess it's the kind of color that you mean, like the Vallejo color, kind of orangey yellow. Right, I'm gonna take the stencil off now. We have been waiting long enough. There is a kind of scaly difference, yeah. Wasn't entirely dry, so I kind of moved a little bit of paint, but that's no problem. It's just gonna add some more definition. I like irregularity, so I see my mistakes as irregularity in a pattern. You can make something very natural out of a mistake, most often actually. But as you can see, the scales are kind of visible. Now I got some extra metallic white in my chamber. That's for the head. I'm gonna make sure the head and the gill plates are totally shiny, because now I've got a scale pattern on the gill plates and I want it to be evened out there. Yeah, definitely. The clear coat is gonna... Clear coat always does the magic. Air pressure is too high. I don't want to blow away the rest of my paint. And the belly that is white, we're also going to give some metallic white. I like shiny things. Alright. I forgot to plug in my compressor. Because I need a battery for the laptop. Yeah, you beat. Yeah, I'll wait until the compressor is on. That is absolutely true, James. I forgot that. But I think it's gonna look a little strange with the moss green and then the yellow sticking through. It's a lot of contrast going on. So I think it's gonna be more natural if we're gonna do it without the stencil anyway. I never tried the technique before, but for today we're just gonna use green, regular green. How is our lure doing? Also, after this video, when I've clear coated this and it's finished, I will post a picture on YouTube afterwards, so that the guys who are following us today can see the result, because yeah, it's not fun if you don't see the result. Oh yeah, sorry Pete, I forgot to answer because the compressor was running. The metallic white, I was shooting at about 18 psi, or maybe even 20. It's around that, because it needs a lot of air pressure, because I don't thin it down. I didn't use any reducer, and it's a very coarse. It's a metallic coarse glitter, so you need a high air pressure to shoot it through your airbrush. But I didn't want too high air pressure because I still had some wet paint from the scaling, and I don't want to blow away that paint and ruin the entire lure. So now, as you can see, the head is also lighter than the body. So that means if we're gonna use moss green on top of the back and on the head is gonna be lighter moss green. So I think we're gonna have to go over that with a candy afterwards to darken it down if we want to go like totally perfect on this lure. Let's see, do I got a stencil for a fin? Like a really tiny stencil. What do you say, guys? This one or this one? You can't see it with my finger. Okay. This one or this one? This one I would do with fin beams. This one I would just do without fin beams. With smaller lures, I'd like to take the easy road and do no fin beams and just put an orange little fin there, nothing more. But I'm gonna let you guys decide. Smaller one. I like you, Joshua. Thank you. What is the KISS principle? Or what is that? Keep it stupid simple. I like that. That's a good one. Yep. I think we lure painters sometimes need to do more KIS principle, because we always like to mix it up and make it more difficult than it should be, because a fish doesn't care for details anyway, right? Totally true. Sometimes less is indeed more. We just like to overthink it and like paint a picture of a fish on top of our lures. So now I got wicked detail in my chamber, and I over reduced it with about, what would it be? 10% paint, 90% reducer or something. So it's a hell of a lot reducer. It's really super thin down, and that's because I want it to be very transparent, so I can put my layers over there and make it fade very gradually. And shooting sepia over it to darken it? I never tried that before, but that's actually something very interesting. Um, Maybe, James, we can use the sepia to darken the head a little bit more, because as you can see, the head is more white than the body. So the moss green is immediately gonna be darker on the back than on the head. And I think the head needs to be at least the same kind of dark green, or maybe even a little darker. I don't know. Is it darker on the head of a perch, or actually lighter? Yeah, yeah, Chris, I get what you mean. I don't know if you guys know Tony Robbins. I really like to listen to that guy sometimes, and he says being offended is a choice. So if somebody calls you stupid, you can decide for yourself if you feel that applies to you, or you can just say, I'm not stupid. I'm not offended. It's not me. Right, Joshua, thank you. Darker. So that's a great tip, James. I'm gonna try that sepia technique you said. I'm gonna try to use some sepia afterwards on top of the head to make it even a little darker there, instead of doing it with a candy. That I never tried before, but we all learn every day. I actually realized something right now. I probably don't have any eyes for this lure. I don't know if I have tiny eyes like that. We'll see. We'll see. Hi, Frederick. I will do a lure with a crackling effect soon. I'll probably make a tutorial out of it, but I'm afraid I will not have enough time to do another lure today. It will be only a little yellow perch today. But I'll promise you, I'll make a tutorial out of it so you can see how the crackle medium of Vallejo works. Yeah, that's true, Chris. We can like use a Q-tip or something and put a little circle as an eye on there with a copper gold kind of. I can think of something probably. Well, I'll see what I can find. Yeah, you're welcome, Frederick. No problem. We'll make something cool out of it. Oh no, Chris, post away. It's no problem. You can post your channel if people are interested. We're a community here. We're all lure painters. We all have the same interest. There's no competition or whatsoever for me. We're helping out each other. So post a link. That's totally true, Shane. I agree to that. I think I still have to practice on my cross stencil, on my crawl patterns because I don't got a decent stencil for that, and I haven't done many cross. I still feel a little uncomfortable doing cross. Yeah, definitely, guys. If you got any time left, check out Chris, his channel. He has some beautiful lures. I really love his perch pattern. Let's see, we got some green left in the chamber. Did we miss anything? How about the striping? Are we gonna do a moss green stripe on a yellow perch, or I don't feel like I want to use black for that because it's gonna stick out way too much. Do we use moss green on that too? Let me know, guys. Out of moss green. And like James said, I totally forgot, but I can add some 40-30 actually. Oh, you would use black. Well, now it's 1-1. One says green, one says black. Now somebody needs to answer to help me out here. Black or green striping? I'm gonna look up the reference picture that I had. Why? James, you're not helping. Now there's a third caller. Right. My reference picture is not loading. Transparent black. Okay, we're going for transparent black because black is mentioned the most anyway. I'm gonna darken, or is it really necessary? No, I think we're good. We're gonna darken that with a little bit of sepia, like James tipped me today. You can darken that green with a detailed sepia, so I'm gonna clean that out. Yeah, my reference picture is an alive perch. It's not dead. And indeed, the striping is way darker and it does stick out. But then I wonder, the back isn't black, is it? Hi there, Diego. Just to help you catching up, we're painting a tiny little crank in a yellow perch pattern. I'm gonna use black magenta now, because that's my favorite black transparent paint. Unless I'm using black candy, I like that one just a little bit more even, but we're gonna have to do fins too. And the fin is going to be on top of the black striping. One tiny drop of black magenta. That was a lot of balancing clear. I didn't mean to do that, but that's gonna be very transparent. We'll manage. That is like 70%, 40-30 in there. Then 20% paint and 10% reducer. Right, this is about 15 psi. I don't know about you guys, but I always like to freehand my striping on a perch because the lining doesn't have any crisp edges, and when you're using a stencil you get this crisp edge, and I like a line to be fading out a little bit. Okay. Over the back to the other side. No, Chris, I agree to that. No, fish don't care for details at all. It's the human that cares for details. And I feel like realistic painting patterns are getting more and more popular. I see a lot of people trying to do really realistic bluegills and everything. That's like really trending right now. Okay, thanks, Joshua. But we're gonna do the black striping, and then the back we're gonna darken with the sepia, like James said. So, striping. Let's see we don't ruin it now. Add a blowout. That happens sometimes. So I just take a wet Q-tip now. I'm gonna try to so as you can see, just try to wipe that away. It's gonna be visible anyway. It's not easy to come back from this. But yeah, it happens. And it happens at the wrong time, of course. It doesn't happen when I'm doing a base coat. It happens when you're doing a fine line. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Pete. I totally agree. Thank you so much, Diego. No worries. I do hope you do understand my videos a little bit, but for the things you just typed or said or used Google Translate, I totally understand. It was perfect English. Don't be afraid to say anything. Thank you so much for the compliments. That's really great to hear. Um, I, I, I don't know what language you do speak, but I'm afraid I will not be able to speak it unless it's English, Dutch, or Swedish. But thank you so much for the compliments, and I really like it that even though you don't really speak English, you still like my channel, and that's really great. That's what fishing does. Spanish, yeah, no, um, I don't speak any Spanish. Oh, gracias, amigo. That's what I can say that. Yeah. my lure is vibrating too hard. That's the way. It's taking long. There we go. You know, it's not going good with the freehanding today. I have to watch your movie again, Chris, because I can't remember the clip thing. Or wait, no, it was not in the movie. I have to check it. This is an Awada Eclipse. So it's a 0.35 needle. And now that you ask, I should actually would be better off switching to my Iwata Micron, which has a 0.8 needle. That would be much easier to do these fine little details, the fine little striping on this little crankbait. But that's too late now. I'm gonna use the Iwata. You know, some days it goes really smooth and well, but today is not one of those days. I'm getting quite a lot of tip dry, and it's not spraying well either. No, I never paint with the cap on. Yep, that's a very old airbrushing trick indeed. If you take the cap off, it's way easier to get in closer and do detailing with an airbrush. And also for taking the tip dry off. Because I'm taking the tip dry off all the time. It's good, Diego. Yeah, a good airbrush makes a big difference. But I have to say, knowing how to use your paint makes even a bigger difference. I can downgrade and buy a really cheap airbrush, and still paint really nice things or details or whatever you want with it, because it depends mostly on the paint and how you use it. It's more experience than just the good airbrush. But a good airbrush does make a difference. You're gonna get a lot less tip dry and everything, and clogging maybe as well is something. What do you have, Joshua? What airbrush do you use? I'm gonna Gonna up my air pressure a little bit. Feel like it's too low. Oh yeah, well, the AliExpress airbrushes are a good beginning airbrush. I still have one hanging here. It was one that came with three needle sizes. I still use the biggest needle size on this one for shooting things like hot rod sparkle, or when I'm doing glitter on the lure, and I use UV-less clears. I just blast it on the lure with this. This is a what thickness is this again? I forgot the needle thickness on this one. I think it's an 8 millimeter. I think it is. It's a very, very thick needle. What is happening? That's better. Just a little higher air pressure did the trick. Yep, that's the one, Chris. That's the one. Indeed, 0.8. That's it. That's like a huge needle. I'm never scared bending that one. I think I can throw it in the wall and it would stick like a dart. Oh yeah, the Vivo. Yeah, it's a great beginning airbrush, and maybe you got the compressor as well from Vivo. It's a good beginning set. Nothing wrong with it. That's true. Ease of cleaning is like worth its money, especially when you're doing a lot of colors and you're changing between a lot of colors. It takes up a huge amount of time. Um, that's why I'm a little bit disappointed when you look at the Micron, which is like a super expensive airbrush. But if you look in the cup, I don't know if you can see that. Um, there is like, yeah, you can see it a little bit. There's like a gap, so the cup doesn't like the water clips. The cup ends on top of the needle. This one has like a gap, and there runs the needle. So when you want to clean this thing out, you need to go all the way inside, and it takes a lot more effort. It takes a lot more time to clean this one out than my Iwata. But I think if I'm correct, the Micron Plus has the same cup as an Iwata. It's um, all the way down to the needle. Yeah, we all do. We clean more than painting. We all do. No, it doesn't want to cooperate today. Back off your Micron. No, the micron really does make a huge difference in because of the needle size when I'm doing details. Like when I'm doing this frog, it's almost only micron work on that one because all the tiny details. If that was what you mean, because I don't think I fully understand what you mean. It's gonna be a weird yellow perch, this one. Oh, you mean the back piece that's adjustable? Yeah, now I'm following. Yeah, yeah. Well, when I took an airbrush course, we're talking about the back piece, right? Yeah, that piece. Okay. When I took an airbrush course, they actually taught me not to use that because if you're using this as an assistance, the back piece, you're never gonna learn full trigger control by hand. So if you leave the back piece full open all the time, you're gonna learn more using your finger, and it's gonna allow you to do more freehanding, or at least the less assistance you get in it, the more feeling you will get in that fingertip. That's what they learned me on the course. But that actually is just an opinion because some things make your life easier and therefore they're not wrong, or so I just went with what the people taught me, but I do understand it might help a lot as well. There we got our first stripes. I have never took so long to do a few stripes, but they're done. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not the best striping I did in my life, but you know, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm thinking that the little mistake you see, the little dot on that first stripe. Maybe I can. Maybe you see it like this. I'm thinking about making a wound out of it. If you can see that, maybe a tiny little fish wound. That would be pretty cool, actually. Right. So we got 4 stripes. Because I don't know if you guys seen my last video. No, it's not my last. Oh yeah, it is my last video on the color changing lure. I did a perch there as well, and actually I did 4 stripes on one side and 5 on the other side. Yeah, just a stupid dumb mistake. uh, that's why from now on I double check my count. Well, I double check the amount of stripes. Oh, you saw that? Yeah, I think I saw a picture of a perch once too for somebody that noticed that a perch had different amount of lines on on either side. That's so actually my pattern was supernatural and not a mistake at all. Thank you for saving my video, Chris. Thank you. Let's try to do these lines a little quicker now because or else I'm gonna be here all night. Have to wait. The walking perch, yeah. The bar is start on the back. I usually start. I don't know how I start the bars actually. I'm gonna see how I do it next one. We had another blowout. Let's see if we can. It's not going well today. It's really not going well. More irregularities to the lure. I'll show you guys the result in a bit. I'm gonna finish those lines first now. It's okay. We saved it. We saved it. Where's the next line? There. Oh, again, paint doesn't want to help. Yeah, live streaming is an easy way to be active on YouTube without all the editing and everything. That's good, Diego. I hope that your airbrush is still cooperating, or else you can also just take a pencil, like just take a pencil and for fun just try to paint a lure with that. That's a really fun way to get creative as well. Yeah, it's totally true, Chris. It's a quite warm but dark day. It rained a little bit, so the humidity is up, and it's causing me a lot of tip dry. We're almost there, and then we still need to do the sepia. That's absolutely true, Chris. I cannot agree more. We're all different. We all have our different techniques and ideas and styles and what we like. And sometimes I do compare myself to others. Of course, I compare my art to other people's art because sometimes you want your art to be more like somebody else's art, but that doesn't mean your art is of a less quality or you should downplay yourself, you know? Is and at the end of the day, the most important thing is what I just wanted to add is as long as you are happy or content with what you've painted, that's all that matters. And if you're not happy, then you're just still in the learning process of getting at the level that you want to be. And that's a good thing, you know. Being criticizing your own stuff is important to get better. 110. What? I was talking the beginning of this stream with Shane about it's 90 degrees where he is, and I can't handle 90 degrees. It's it's 20 degrees Celsius here. I don't know how much degrees Fahrenheit that is, but I think it's about 60 or something. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's a nice thing to give it to friends. That's really great. It's really hard to get a economical benefit from painting lures because, as you can see, I've been painting this little guy here for almost, how long is it? Almost an hour and a half. And this tiny crankbait, if you would try to sell it and you're asking about $20 for this one, nobody's gonna buy it because who buys a tiny crankbait for $20? Okay, Chris. Of course, there are people that buy tiny crankbaits for $20, but they're like top notch, really beautiful stuff. I don't think this is gonna be one of those. I don't even think I'm gonna add a fin on this one actually because it's there's no room left. But I'll finish this one little last dot here and then I'll show you. Right, so this is the other side. I think I like this side a little bit more. They're very uneven, but I'm quite happy with that. Let's get to the sepia and darken that back a little bit more. It's gonna be pretty though with clear coat on it because of that coarse metallic white we sprayed on there. So with the clear coat, that's really gonna shine. That's gonna be really nice. Another great tip for you guys. I don't know how you clear airbrushes. I used to do it differently, but since a few years back when I bought this bottle, like you can jet spray with this and you can jet spray out all the paint out of there. It's really worth it. It makes cleaning your airbrush so much easier. $120. Wow, James, that's really I'm so happy I live in the north of Europe now. I can't handle those temperatures. Thank you, Joshua. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this tiny crankbait. I might try to sell it. I haven't made up my mind yet. But I always think it's really difficult to price these tiny things because a lot of people expect a lower price for a smaller lure because it's smaller. But we lure painters, we sometimes put more time in a small lure than in the big one. Where's my detail sepia? Just one drop and I'm gonna add some 40-30. Keeping it really transparent. Oh, I'll check it out, Chris. Um, Wow. Let's see. That is a nice paint job, Chris. That's really nice. Very realistic. I think that's prettier than this one. Or it's gonna be prettier than this. Well, no, that one is prettier than this is going to be. So, we're gonna darken that back a little bit with sepia. That's a great tip from James. Lighting makes it really difficult. But yeah. I do like the look of it. I'm not gonna do the fin. I'm gonna put that back. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I just had higher expectations, you know. But that's me lure painting. That's something. If you want to know something about me lure painting, that is, I always have really high expectations, and then I get a little bit let down when I see the result because it's not how I wanted it. But that's what keeps me going to try to improve myself every time when I paint something because I want to reach my expectations. Yeah, you can deep fry this right away, right? But yeah, I think we're gonna call this one done. I'm gonna see if I got any eyes for this one. I do have quite tiny eyes. Yeah. That's what I like about this see-through charts when there are eyes on there. You can always compare and see if that eye is gonna fit and that's gonna look good. And this actually is gonna fit. So no need to paint eyes on there. Just gonna glue some on there. Where's my super glue? I moved stuff around so I could put my laptop here, and now I forgot where I put my super glue. I need my super glue. There it is. Some black spatters. Okay. We're done. We're not done yet. We're not done yet then. I'm gonna show you a cool trick how I like to do black spatters. It's something that I once learned from a video. The guy's YouTube channel is called Airbrush Asylum. He's from Australia. I didn't really have a decent chat with him, but I talked a little bit with him. He also did a tutorial on that skull, which I followed, and I'm really happy with the result. I think it's a really cool skull. The guy really gives really nice airbrushing tutorials. No fishing lures or anything. Should we do it with sepia brown or with a black magenta, or with which color are we gonna do the spattering? Let me know, guys. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna try to open my super glue. It's glued stuck. My God. Let's see. Black. Yeah, indeed. That's correct, Chris. Both are really good techniques. I like the popsicle stick trick because then you can really control where you want the splatters to be. Well, not exactly, but the ratio or the radius, more more likely. You can control the radius better with the chopstick technique. Well, I'm not. I can't open it. Thank God I have a second one. And this one opens like a charm, so okay, we're good with that. We're gonna use black, like an opaque black. Oh yeah, that. I never tried the toothbrush trick actually, but that could also work. With the teeth. Yeah, and then the bottle pops open and all the super glue in my mouth. I'm not gonna try that. Oh yeah, we're gonna make a fish wound out of that too. Right, I'm gonna do that real quick first before I forget it. I recently bought one of these 000 pencils or brushes, paint brushes. They are. I expected them to be finer actually, but yeah, they're really fun to play around with. I did something on the lure once with a paint. I don't usually use paintbrushes, but yeah, indeed, Chris. That would be a funny situation. If that would happen on this video, then I'm gonna cut that out and that's gonna go viral. There's another way to make money. Yeah, an old paintbrush also works. I just don't have any old paintbrushes. I think I have two small ones. So I just dip a little bit paint straight in a bowl and I'm gonna try to. That's too much paint. Try to just give a little bit of depth in there, you know. I hope you guys can see it, but how's that for a little fish wound? Do you guys even see that? Damn, I don't think you guys see that. I'm gonna close this bottle before I push it. Camel hair? I have no idea, Chris. It's some kind of natural hair. And I hope you can see that, but I don't think. Oh, you saw the red. That's good. Yeah, you can see it a little, maybe more in the light. No, the light catches it. You don't see it. It's really hard to show because um, my live stream is about 10 seconds behind. So when I'm looking at the laptop, I'm still doing other stuff. So it's really hard to show you guys something if I want to get it to focus or because it just takes so long. Get all the paint off. I'm no paintbrush expert, but I think it's okay to just use a little bit of water and get all the paint off. I can see a mouse part. Gonna let it dry wet. Oh, there goes my protection. I'll post a few pictures afterwards of the lure when it's finished. Let's see. How are we doing with the airbrush? Oh yeah, black. Uh, epoxy coating pre-assembled joints. Depending on the epoxy you're using, wait until it gets thicker. The epoxy I use usually takes about 30 minutes and a little longer before it gets thicker. And then when it gets thicker, then I brush it on. And then I brush it on in very light coats, so it runs less because it's thicker. And also the epoxy doesn't run where you didn't put any epoxy. So when you stop at the joint, the epoxy is not going to run past that and going into the joint. It's going to stop there. It's creating like a kind of a barrier. It's like yeah, it's because of gravity. It's like a water drop. When you got a water drop and you tilt a little bit, that water drop is going to stay there because it's not wet around the water drop, and because of gravity is pushing against that drop, it's going to stay there. It's the same with epoxy. So try to wait until the epoxy gets a little thicker and put on very light coats. Or what you also can do is hang your swim bait upside down in this direction. I can take one and show you. Oh no, go on here. What I also tried once, and that worked pretty well as well, is just hang it upside down and then coat around everything. So when the epoxy runs down, it runs down and forms a drop here. And that drop you can just take away or sand it off and put a little bit of extra epoxy there. Or what I did is I waited until the epoxy gets really thick and then just remove the drop, and then it gets more smooth. Still, it's gonna be uneven on the back. It's not gonna be perfect, but at least it's a lot easier to put epoxy on a swim bait when you just hang it upside down and put your epoxy between the joints. Yeah, if it's a two-part swim bait, like a glide bait, then just like Chris said, just do one side until that's dry, just flip it around and do the other side. That's a really easy thing. But if it's a few parts, like this one, then you can do those two techniques that I told you. Right, black spots, and then I need to go because it's getting late and I didn't eat yet. I haven't eaten yet and I'm getting really hungry. And I was supposed to cook for my girlfriend today because we switch, because we both hate blah, blah. We both hate cooking, so we switch turns. And it's actually my turn to cook today. And I think she's not gonna be happy with that. Because, you know, like any lady, when she gets hungry, they get angry. Alright, I'm gonna use a little bit of reducer in there as well. Indeed, hungry. Indeed, that's the term. So let's do these splatters and then we'll call it done. And I'll put the eyes on later and clear coat it another time. I always like to test a little bit first. I might put on my cap here just to protect my needle. Alright, small splatter. A little bit more here, I guess. Like so. How does that look, guys? I don't know if you can even see the splatters. Just my lighting is not that good for it doesn't really focus. But there are tiny little black splatters on there. Yeah, I think it's really nice. So guys, I will finish this lure up later. I will post some pictures on YouTube, so make sure you don't miss them, because it would be fun for you guys, I think, to see the end result of the thing we created together, actually. So I want to thank you guys for watching. That was really nice. It was really nice to finally talk a little bit and connect with each other. I think we should do this more often. It was all my pleasure, Diego. Pete, thank you so much. It was nice having you too. Thank you, Rock River Lure. Glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you, Shane. You do that, Diego. It's gonna be good. That was really fun. I also enjoyed it a lot. Thank you guys for watching, and bye everyone.